Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping straight into something you've probably seen online, the bottled water panic.
Yes, specifically the fear that these plastic microparticles, MPs, that they might be causing colorectal cancer.
It feels urgent, right? A lot of listeners asked about this.
It really does.
Uh-huh.
And our mission today, really leaning on Professor Lin's investigative work, is all about critical thinking. It's about showing you how to, well, separate the proven facts from speculation. That just sounds terrifying.
Especially with complex biomedical stuff. Okay, so let's get specific. The big claims surfaced, early 2025?
That's right.
Prompted by a listener query, actually. A doctor was reported saying the number of MPs in colorectal cancer cells is 3.4 times higher than in normal tissue.
A very specific number.
Exactly, which led people to think, okay, MPs must be, at least helping cause cancers.
And then there's that other statistic that always comes up alongside it.
Oh, yeah, the ingestion numbers. Bottled water drinkers taking in, 90,000 MPs a year.
Compared to maybe 4,000 from tap water. It's a huge difference, and it sounds incredibly convincing, almost alarming.
It does. That 3.4 times figure, though, that feels like the real linchpin for the cancer panic. But you're saying Professor Lin had trouble finding where it actually came from?
That's the core finding, really. When Professor Lin tried to verify that key number to 3.4 times, he dug into 6 relevant academic papers, searched databases, even used AI tools.
Yeah.
Nothing. He couldn't trace that specific statistic back to any published, verifiable source. It seems to be, a ghost statistic.
Wow. Okay.
Which is a massive red flag, right?
Right.
Immediately makes you question the media report's precision.
So if that central number, the source of the panic, basically is untraceable,
Right.
What do the actual studies say? What did Professor Lin find in those papers from 2023 up to last summer?
They focus mainly on potential mechanisms. How could MPs cause harm? They're looking into whether MPs might damage the colon's protective mucus barrier or maybe promote chronic inflammation.
Inflammation is a known risk factor for cancer, right? Especially in certain groups.
Exactly. So they're investigating plausible theories, potential pathways.
But it's studying potential harm, not confirmed harm causing cancer.
Precisely. And this is crucial for anyone without a biomedical background to grasp. Across all 6 papers Professor Lin analyzed, the conclusion was consistent. Microplastics are described as a potential risk factor, or showing a potential association. There's absolutely no definitive evidence presented in these studies saying MPs trigger or directly cause colorectal cancer.
Okay.
And even zooming out, the bigger question, do MPs harm human health in general across all diseases? That's still largely considered undetermined by the scientific community. The proof just isn't there yet.
Right. This brings us to Professor Lin's critical thinking challenge, which I thought was brilliant, the baseball player analogy.
Ah, yes.
If ingesting MPs definitely leads to higher cancer rates, what about groups who ingest tons of them, maybe even more than heavy bottled water drinkers, like baseball players chewing gum all the time?
That's a great point. Chewing gum is a known source of ingested MPs, a pretty significant one, and it's been an MLB staple for, decades.
So if the link was so direct and certain, as some reports implied,
Shouldn't we see decades of baseball players with demonstrably higher rates of colorectal cancer or related diseases? We don't have evidence of that specific link being widely reported or studied in that population.
it highlights that difference, doesn't it, between finding two things together correlation and proving one causes the other.
Exactly. Causation is a much higher bar scientifically.
So while the direct MP cancer link is unproven, Professor Lin does agree on something else, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's very clear that relying heavily on bottled water poses a serious environmental problem. That's established. The plastic waste, the resources used, it's significant.
So the critical thinking exercise here is about weighing risks. We have a known, definite environmental harm.
Versus an unconfirmed, though scary-sounding health alarm based on, shaky data like that 3.4 figure.
And there's an ethical angle, too, isn't there? Professor Lin mentioned reporting unproven cancer risks during, say, disaster relief when bottled water might be the only safe option.
Right. Generating fear without solid data has real consequences. It's an important consideration.
So for you listening, the big takeaway seems to be always question the data. When you see an alarming health claim, especially one tied to a really specific, shocking number,
Like 3.4 times.
yeah, pause and ask, is that number actually traceable? Can you find the original source? Because if the headline-grabbing statistic disappears under scrutiny,
The whole story might just collapse.
it really changes the perspective.
So here's something to think about. Knowing the environmental impact of plastic bottles is real and serious? Does the lack of confirmed cancer evidence change how you view using them? Or maybe this whole deep dive just makes you focus more on demanding better, verifiable evidence whenever you see health claims in the media.
Correlation versus causation again. Definitely something to mull over. We'll leave you with that thought until our next deep dive.